Hello and welcome to my F1 2016 Career Mode series. We're here for part 15, round 17, here at the Japanese Grand Prix at the home of Honda itself, here at the Suzuka International Circuit. We're here off the back of a fantastic win in Malaysia. Spoiler alert, sorry about that. If you haven't seen that race or any of the others in this series, click the card in the top right hand corner. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. We're so close to 100 subscribers on this channel, and your support on this series, as I've been saying all the way through, has been phenomenal. But here we are at the Japanese Grand Prix, a track which was brilliant for me on F1 2015. The last time we did a race at this track was in McLaren Honda Co-op Finale. If you haven't seen any of that series from F1 2015, there'll be a card in the top right hand corner for that there, because that series was good, especially the race around this racetrack. As you can see, we're losing in the rivalry to Daniel Ricciardo, our teammate, by about 5 points really. Nothing major going into this race. A track which of course has served me well. After practice, these are all the resource points we collated. Pace in practice was terrible, struggling with the setup as well, as we have our session goal for qualifying.
Passing on your qualifying goals for this weekend.
Right, so here we are in qualifying. I think that's third or higher and beat Ricciardo, so it's going to be a tall order after poor pace in practice, but we'll just have to see what we can do. As you can see, we've failed a lot of things in that practice session in terms of what the team wanted us to do. But we'll just have to see what we can do. There's the performance index. No one's really made any big gains this race. We've, of course, ceased our R&D, so we can't upgrade our car anymore. But I'll now send you down to Crofty for qualifying for the Japanese Grand Prix here in Suzuka.
Welcome to Japan and the impressive Suzuka track for today's qualifying session.
Right, so here we are in qualifying one in heavy rain conditions. It's been chucking it down here in Suzuka as we go into turn one. Something we've been struggling around. We've gone very wide into turn one, gone into the gravel almost as we braked. It was a little bit too late, braking into turn one in the wet on this game. I just couldn't get it right. In all the sessions it was wet. I was just struggling so much, and as you can see here, we've had a moment through 130R on the same lap. This is our one and only lap we did in qualifying one as well, and it's not been a tidy lap. It's been very scruffy. Car quite understeery, not a lot of grip. The car's sliding all over the place. You can see how we're having to attack the car as it aquaplanes. As you can see, that only puts us in 6th place on the grid, but we get through the session in about 8th place. So despite having a pretty terrible lap time, we've made it through anyway. So that's a bonus, I think, for us going into qualifying too. As you can see here, we're on our, I think we did 3 runs, in fact. This is our final run of the session. As you can see, we are up on our delta time at the moment. At the moment, we're only in 10th place behind Kevin Magnussen in the Renault. So as you can see, this hasn't been a swimming Q2 for us at the moment, if you pardon the expression, as we now on the run down the back straight, on the run down towards 130R. The track has started to dry out, so I wonder if we'll get to slicks before the end. I'm not quite sure, to be honest, as we come through 130R now. Not running really badly wide like we did in qualifying one as we come into the chicane, braking ever so much, a lot of understeer, clunking the curb on the exit, just about missing the gravel, but having a bit of oversteer on the exit because we got onto the AstroTurf and the curb. And as we come through the kink of the final corner, that's going to put us P3 now for the session. So that's not too bad. To be brutally honest, but it didn't get us through. We've missed the cut. The track dried, got significantly quicker, and we've missed the cut. We are out of qualifying here at the Japanese Grand Prix, and it's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. We've had terrible pace all weekend in the dry, and our wet weather pace has matched it as well. Clearly gone the wrong way with the setup. Just haven't fine-tuned it enough. Haven't just found the right balance. Probably should have gone for the default setup, to be honest, but you know, you live and learn. But yeah, not very good at all. Magnussen, Kvyat, Bottas falls out of qualifying along with us, and Gutierrez isn't far off beating us as well, just to prove how bad our lap time was. And that was our best time of the session. We did 3 laps as well. Really disappointing qualifying from us at a race where we could virtually put one hand on the flipping Drivers' World Championship. So we've got a lot of work to do. As you can see, these are the resource points we have collated from that session. Not a lot. 34 to add to the tally. As I keep saying, that was a terrible qualifying session from us. The championship leader, no less, as well. So it is very disappointing to see. Here's the rivalry. I dread to think what this is like. And it is bad. It is very bad. We've lost a lot of points to Daniel Ricciardo, and our driver position in the team is going to suffer heavily in that as well. Not very good for us, and it's going to drop down quite a bit. But here are our session goals for the race.
Hi, guess who? I've seen the team's expectations for the race, so I thought I'd pass them on and wish you luck. Take care.
So, I think that says my preview monitor is so bad on this. I think that's like 7th or something. Not great, really. Beat Ricciardo, finished 6th in the Drivers' Championship. We're going to do one of those because of our lead in the Drivers' Championship anyway. Whether we can do the other two, I don't know. We'll just have to see how the race goes. Practice pace isn't looking promising. Qualifying pace isn't looking promising. And it's a track which I seem to be quite... I don't know if I like it so much, but hopefully we can have a good result here. There's the Drivers' Championship. There's the lead we have. I'm going to send you down to Crofty for the 2016 Japanese Grand Prix.
And a very warm welcome to the Japanese Grand Prix, an event that has decided a Drivers' Championship 11 times over the years and has hosted 2005, or Kamui Kobayashi's incredible drive to a podium in 2012. A lap of this historic racetrack covers 3.6 miles, and it's the only time during the season that we race on a figure-of-8 racetrack. The drivers can expect some intense G-forces through the 18 corners on offer here as they experience some of the highest average apex speeds on the Formula One calendar. And keep an eye out for overtakes going into the final chicane.
With 5 races remaining, we're still in with a chance of taking the Constructors' Championship. The team need a result from you today.
Nico Rosberg will start his silver arrow from pole position, and Kimi Raikkonen completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Ricciardo, Felipe Massa, and Hamilton, Alonso, Hulkenberg, Perez, and Jenson Button, a Red Bull, Gutierrez, Carlos Sainz, and Bottas.
So as you can see, Mercedes have had their first pole position in God knows how long. So good for Mercedes. There's the race strategy, medium, medium, hard. We are going to get rain towards the end of the race as well. So a light shattering of rain, but that's going to come a lot later in the race. So we might be able to avoid using the hard compound tyre as we now get underway for the formation lap. It's that Jenson Button just in front of us. He's also starting on the medium compound tyre, as is Esteban Gutierrez. Be interesting to see what the top 10 run, because of course they Q2 was all wet, so they can start on whatever compound of tyre they like here for the Japanese Grand Prix. One of the worst turn ones on the calendar to be in the mid-pack. We'll see what we can do. 5 red lights and away we go. Here in Suzuka, it's not been a great launch at all, but we have slightly done better than Esteban Gutierrez. We're not going to make too much ground into turn 1. We take it quite cautiously to avoid a crash and now go up the inside of a handful of cars through the entry of turn 2. We've got ourselves up into 8th place as Massa and Hulkenberg up ahead are going hammer and tongs into the S's section. Who's going to come out on top? Hulkenberg just about gets in there as we get on the grass and lose the car slightly. There's quite a bit of commotion going up ahead with the leaders as we now need to try and get right up to the gearbox of Felipe Massa and try and see if we can get past him and Hulkenberg and then possibly make a bid for the podium in this race. It's not been the best of starts if you compare it to other ones as we come through Degner 1 now. We've gone out wide on the exit, we've gone onto the grass. Oh, we're going into the gravel. No, that's not what we wanted to see. We've lost out to Perez, we're blocking Jenson Button. I think we've had contact there as we don't know which way he's going as we come down into the hairpin now and we're down to 9th place. We've lost the position to Perez as Fernando Alonso is getting involved in this battle for 9th. As you can see, most of the top 10 have started on the soft compound tyre, so they're not going to go too far into this Grand Prix as we're having to defend going into Spoon from Fernando Alonso as we're looking in our mirrors just as much as we are as we now get a replay of the start here in Suzuka, and it was a decent launch for Nico Rosberg. Look at the start from Daniel Ricciardo, our teammate, and there was a fast starting Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton just behind, and there's contact between Massa and Hamilton, as through turn 1, but they've both got away with it, which would explain why Massa was struggling in terms to Hulkenberg as we see the start from Sebastian Vettel, our championship rival here. Great launch and up into 2nd place. Very good start for him, past his teammate Kimi Raikkonen. As you can see, the start from Daniel Ricciardo leapt off the line. Not as good a start as Sebastian Vettel, who's on the medium compound tyres, it looks like there. So Vettel going for the same strategy as us, as we see on board with Lewis Hamilton on the soft compound tyres. We'll get a good view of a bad start for Kimi Raikkonen. He just got absolutely swamped, didn't move away, but manages to fend off Hamilton, who has collisions with Felipe Massa a bit further down the field. As this is a replay of us going wide now through Degner, between Degner 1 and Degner 2. As we're now moving on to lap number 3, the start of lap number 4, we're in the chicane now. We're right behind Nico Hülkenberg in the Force India. Massa has already passed him, so we've got a lot of work to do. As Daniel Ricciardo, I believe, leads this Grand Prix now for Red Bull Racing. As we're in the slipstream of Hülkenberg, DRS open. We go up the inside and take 8th place, in this Japanese Grand Prix, and we cut off Hülkenberg on the exit, who tried to hang it around the outside. We were having none of it, and we move up. And all these guys pretty much are on the soft compound tyre, apart from Sebastian Vettel. As now on lap 5, some of the soft compound runners are starting to pit. As we've moved up into 7th place, we're now going to move up into 6th as Sergio Perez makes his stop for the hard compound tyre. I think they're all pitting for. And now as we start lap number 8, end lap number 8 I should say, and start lap number 9, I think we're going to take the lead here of this Grand Prix in Japan, as Vettel has pitted despite the fact he's on the same tyre as us. Now at this point, I must come and tell you, as the two Ferraris are battling into turn 1 and running wide, the engineer told me it was going to start raining in about 5 minutes time, so we've been hanging it out now on our medium tyres longer than we probably should have done, because we're waiting for this rain and it's imminent, and we're going to have to pit this lap. And what we're going to pit onto, whether it's slicks or inters, I don't quite know. Oh no, we've got a puncture. The front left tyre has gone through the Degners, and we're going to lose a heap of time here. We're halfway round the lap, and we've got a puncture on our front left tyre, coming out into the hairpin now. The engineer's obviously giving us a new strategy. We're going to ignore that and go on to intermediates. I think we've got to gamble on the inters and hope that this pays off, because it is going to start raining any second now. It's going to be a bit early for the inters, but we have to take that risk as Raikkonen, for some bizarre reason, doesn't overtake us and lets Rosberg just scamper off into the distance. And Raikkonen was leading this race, as we get a replay of when the tyre went through Degner 1. Somehow didn't put it in the gravel going through on the exit of Degner 1, as you can see here on the slow motion, just the exact moment where the tyres popped going through Degner 1. Oh, it's agonising to watch as it just pops. Before we've even hit the apex of the corner, the tyre is gone. And that's absolutely gutting it. So the worst thing that could have happened to us here, pretty much. And it's absolutely gutting as we're now coming in for our pit stop. And there's been a collision between Sainz and Massa, I think that is, going through the final corner. Massa's facing the wrong way now, so he's been in the wars as well, as we're coming in for our pit stop now. We are gambling on intermediate tyres. We've got to make the risk if we're to get back up into the points. It's going to be a long, hard road from here, with pretty much half the Grand Prix, just over half the Grand Prix left to go. And the rain has come so much earlier than it should have. It should have come around in about 10 laps time, but it's come. But it hasn't started raining just quite yet. I think there's a few droplets on the chassis there. But as we now come through turn 1, we've got Kvyat, who's just pitted behind us. He's gone on to medium compound tyres, so he's taking a gamble on slicks being the better option at the moment as we run wide through here, because it's no grip at all. Kvyat drives clean past us on the slicks. It's not wet enough for intermediates just yet in this Grand Prix. And now we skip. DRS has been disabled now on lap 14, so it's taken 3 laps for it to be wet enough for intermediates. And as you can see, the tyre wear, it's just started raining. People are pitting onto their inters. We've got 49% tyre wear on our front left tyre. We're going to pit again, I think, for a new set of intermediates as well. This race has fallen apart. We need a safety car now if we're to get back in this race, as we just about slow down. And what has been a bad weekend has turned into a nightmare weekend. Struggling for pace, terrible qualifying, and we've had terrible luck in the race as well, as Daniel Ricciardo is now pitting, as well as some of the guys who didn't pit for some reason on the last lap. And we're not far away from being lapped, if we haven't already been lapped in this race, which is an absolute disaster for us. And now here on lap 17, we're trying to get to distance. The track is getting a lot wetter. There's a lot of aquaplaning going around. As you can see, we're fighting the car like crazy going through Dunlop curve. We've had to catch the slide ever so slightly as we run down now towards Exit 1. We've lost the car, we've aquaplaned, we've hit the wall, and our front left tyre has come off, and we are out of the Japanese Grand Prix.
And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Well, the gap at the top of the championship has been cut down after a difficult race today for our championship leader. Moving on to the driver of the day then. Anthony Davidson, who would you go for?
Oh, well, I'm a bit spoiled for choice, Crofty. My instinct says Valtteri Bottas. Looking down the field, no one really jumps out at me.
So Sebastian Vettel has won the Japanese Grand Prix from Daniel Ricciardo and Kimi Raikkonen. Terrible result for us in terms of the championship, us scoring no points and our two main rivals getting a 1-2. Hamilton is 4th, Rosberg is 5th, Bottas is 6th, Hülkenberg 7th, Button 8th and Alonso 9th and Sergio Perez in 10th. Massa didn't recover from that spin to get back in the points. You can see he finished 12th and Grosjean just missed out on points for Haas as well as they try and overhaul Sauber in the Constructors' Championship, and as you can see, we were the only person to DNF. And we had a corner cutting penalty as well. I forgot to mention we aquaplaned just before we crashed as well and cut the last chicane. And as I said, a terrible weekend, and it's really hampered us in the Drivers' Championship. Vettel's taken 25 points out of our lead. Ricciardo's taken 18 points out of our lead, and it's going to be a very close run thing. We've got in the last few races, we've gone DNF. We've gone win, DNF, win, DNF. So going to the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, we'll be hoping for a good recovery yet again. As you can see in the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari have closed in quite nicely with a 1-3 compared to just 18 points from Ricciardo for us. We're kind of dropping Mercedes away now. It's it's almost a 3-horse race in the drivers and a 2-horse race in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes need a miracle if they're to retain their title. Here are our resource points from the race, the few. We got more than we got in qualifying, so I suppose that's the only positive we can take. Here's our first driver bonus. At this rate, we could be at risk of losing our first driver status because that's going to take quite a hit with losing out to Ricciardo yet again. As in the rivalry, has Ricciardo beaten us in this rivalry? As you can see, it's all ticks for him. Although we have got a quicker Sector 3, so that's kept us alive going to the Circuit of the Americas, although I expect we will lose that rivalry in qualifying there, I expect. Driver position, we haven't beaten Ricciardo, we didn't finish where we wanted, but we did get the championship position, so that's going to benefit us quite nicely, I suppose. To be honest, so it's going to keep us in the green, I expect. So, yes, it does. I can't tell you how disappointed I am, guys. I'm so gutted with that race. I was there. I was gutted driving it as well. I just didn't have the pace this weekend, as the career score's up on screen now. We just didn't have the pace this weekend. And we've had a lot of bad luck in this race. Everything that could have gone wrong for us this weekend has gone wrong for us. It's worse than Singapore. Singapore, we got pole and then just made a bad strategy call thanks to Jeff, and ended up putting it in the wall. So this is more disappointing because the whole weekend there aren't many positives to take from it, and as you can see, we've been a bit inconsistent of late. We haven't had a podium that hasn't been a win since the British Grand Prix, so we do need to rectify that as soon as we can. So next week will be the Circuit of the Americas, the American Grand Prix. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, like, share and subscribe, and I will see you again next time. Goodbye.